Sharon was livid, not just annoyed, she was seething. And who was the lucky recipient of her wrath? Me, her husband. My name's Frank Miller. How did I know she was furious? Oh, that part was obvious. As I drove us home from a gathering hosted by her acquaintances, Anne and Hank Vanderlink, she sat stiffly in her seat, angled as far away from me as the car would allow. Her arms were crossed, her lips pressed into a thin, disapproving line, and the look she shot me could have soured fresh cream. So, what had I done to deserve this silent storm of rage? Simple. I had completely wrecked her evening, sabotaged it beyond repair. And, if I'm being brutally honest, I understood why she was angry. I had embarrassed her in front of a room full of people, and now she would never let me forget it. But what exactly did I do to ruin the night? I refused to play along with a little game. You see, the Vanderlinks had a rather unconventional tradition at their parties, one that my dear wife had apparently decided to embrace without warning me beforehand. It was our first time attending one of their events, though Sharon had heard about them through a friend and had managed to secure an invitation. What she conveniently failed to mention was that these parties had a unique conclusion, one I had no interest in participating in. At the end of the night, the wives would discreetly place their house keys into a communal bowl. Then, the husbands, blindly and at random, would each draw a key, escorting the owner of that key to her bedroom for an entire night of illicit pleasure. When I realized what was about to happen, I saw red. My pulse pounded in my ears as I yanked Sharon by the wrist and pulled her into the kitchen. "You knew this was the plan all along?" I demanded, my voice sharp with disbelief. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she gave me a smirk. "Yes. And you didn't think to tell me? Not even a little heads up?" "Because I knew you'd refuse," she said, as if that justified everything. "You're damn right I would have refused," I snapped. "And guess what? I still do. We're leaving." "Frank, we can't just walk out. That would be rude," she countered, trying to sound reasonable. "It's just one night. No strings attached. A little excitement, something different." "I don't need this kind of excitement," I shot back. "We're apologizing and getting out of here." "You're being ridiculous." "This is about me, Frank. I need this," she insisted, her voice lowering. "Just once. One night. I want to feel like a woman again, not just a wife or a mother. It's not a big deal." My jaw clenched. "Oh, it's a huge deal. And we're leaving." "But I already put our house key in the bowl," she whispered. "It's done." I stared at her in stunned silence. Then, without another word, I stormed back into the living room where the so-called game was about to begin. Sharon tried to tug me back, but I shook her off and strode toward the bowl of keys. The crowd, all gathered around and waiting for the big moment, quieted as I reached in and fished out the one I recognized immediately. Ours. The one with the red plastic cover. Holding it up, I addressed the room loud and clear. "Looks like I was kept in the dark about this little tradition. And let me be perfectly clear. I have no intention of sharing my wife with any of you." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd, some annoyed, others amused. A few faces twisted into scowls, but I couldn't have cared less. I turned back to Sharon, whose face had gone pale with fury. "You have a choice," I said evenly. "Come with me now and leave this insanity behind, or stay here and don't bother coming home. I'm done playing games." The room fell silent. Every eye was on her. For a second, she hesitated, her expression flickering between defiance and embarrassment. Then, straightening her posture, she forced a tight smile and addressed the group. "I apologize for my husband's outburst. I would love to stay, but clearly, under these circumstances, it's best that I leave." She followed me to the car, though every step she took radiated resentment. The second we were inside, she exploded. "You're such a selfish, insufferable idiot," she shouted. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that was for me? We'll never be invited back." "Humiliating for you?" I shot back. "How about the fact that you planned to spend the night in another man's bed without even telling me?" she huffed, crossing her arms. "You could have picked a key, too. We both could have had fun." I stared at her, dumbfounded. "I don't want another woman, Sharon. I've never wanted anyone but you, and the fact that after 10 years of marriage, you suddenly think this is acceptable, that's what stuns me the most." "It's just one night, Frank," she argued, her voice softer now. "One night out of hundreds we've spent together. It wouldn't have meant anything. I've been a loyal wife for 10 years. I don't see why one night should be such a big deal." I let out a hollow laugh. "Oh, it's a big deal, all right, and now I see exactly where we stand." Her expression faltered. "Frank, It's not like that. I slammed my foot on the brakes, sending the car into a violent skid. The tires screeched against the asphalt as the vehicle spun a full 180 degrees. The smell of burnt rubber thick in the air. Without hesitation, I gripped the steering wheel and floored the gas pedal, the engine roaring as I sped back toward the Vanderlinks' house. Sharon let out a sharp gasp, gripping the door handle. "Frank, what the hell are you doing?" I kept my eyes locked on the road ahead, my voice cold and unwavering. "If sleeping with another man for one night is so damn important to you, then I'm not going to stop you. You might as well go ahead and do it." The house came into view, still glowing with warm light. The cars were still parked outside. The party wasn't over yet. "Looks like you still have time to join in," I said, my words laced with bitterness. "Go on then. Get out. Go have your little adventure. Find some random guy to screw. Maybe you'll find one with a lot more to offer than I ever had." Her expression tightened, her hands clenched into fists. "That's not fair, Frank. This is about excitement, not replacement. It's about experiencing something new. This has nothing to do with how I feel about you." I barked out a laugh, shaking my head. "Oh, really? So you're telling me this isn't about finding someone else to take you to bed?" She exhaled sharply, as if frustrated that I wasn't seeing her point of view. "Listen to me," she said, forcing a calmer tone. "I love you. I love everything about you. You do everything right. You're enough for me. But this isn't about that. This is just one night, a change, a different kind of experience." I clenched my jaw, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. "Well, guess what? I don't want any part of it, Sharon. I have never betrayed you, and I never will. I've never touched another woman since the day I married you, and I never will. Unless we're no longer married." Her face went pale. Her voice, once so sure, softened into something small and uncertain. What are you saying?" I turned to face her fully, my expression unreadable. "I mean exactly what I said. It's time for you to decide. If you really want this, if this night means more to you than the life we built together, then get out. Go back inside that house and be with them. I have no doubt they'll make room for a beautiful woman like you in their little circle, even if she's there alone." Her hand hovered over the door handle, hesitation flickering across her face. She was thinking, weighing her options, realizing the gravity of the situation. Then her voice softened again, almost coaxing. "Frank," she said slowly, "if I do this, would you come pick me up in the morning? You know, at whichever house I end up at, I'll call you and let you know where I am. You could just swing by and get me." She smiled faintly, as if this was a reasonable compromise. "That would mean so much to me." I let out a short, bitter laugh. "Are you out of your damn mind? No, Sharon, I won't be picking you up. But I'm sure your new lover will be more than happy to drop you off somewhere after he's finished using you." She winced as if I had slapped her. "You make it sound so disgusting," she muttered. "That's because it is disgusting," I shot back. "You're treating this like it's some casual little experiment, like it won't change anything, but you're wrong. It changes everything." She met my gaze, looking genuinely hurt. "Frank, he wouldn't be my lover. It's just for one night. It's just something new. A different experience, a new set of hands, a different face. That's all. It doesn't mean I don't love you. You're the only man I have ever truly loved, and you always will be." I stared at her, disgusted. "You actually believe that, don't you?" My voice was steel. "You think love and loyalty mean nothing as long as you justify it to yourself. Tell me something, Sharon. Are you looking for a stranger to screw you tonight, or are you looking for someone to put a baby in you?" She gasped, eyes widening in horror. "Frank! That's awful! You know I'm on birth control. I'm not looking to get pregnant. This is just about experiencing something different. That's all it is." She paused, her voice growing wistful. "Haven't you ever wondered what it would be like to make love to someone new? To see a different face, hear different sounds, feel a different touch? It's just one night, Frank, and afterward everything between us will be even better. You'll see." I shook my head slowly, my jaw tightening. "Enjoy it then. Enjoy your new man and whatever new sensations he gives you." I exhaled sharply, my patience at its limit. "I just hope you understand exactly what you're throwing away." "It's just one night, Frank," she said again, as if trying to convince me, or maybe herself. "One single night. That's all. 1 second would be too much." She leaned forward, her expression softening. We have the rest of our lives ahead of us. I scoffed. No, we don't. Not if you do this. You need to understand something, Sharon. I am begging you. Don't do this. Don't throw everything away for one night of whatever this is. Please. Her shoulders squared, her lips pressing into a stubborn line. You're making way too big a deal out of this, Frank, and I refuse to let you ruin my night. I've made my decision. I want this, and you just have to accept it. I'm going to do this, and tomorrow morning, I'll be yours again. I'll make you forget everything. I stared at her for a long moment, my heart pounding, my entire body screaming for her to reconsider. Then my voice dropped, steady and cold. Tomorrow morning, you won't be my wife anymore. If you go through with this, you'll be nothing to me. She rolled her eyes, waving me off. Oh, don't be stupid. Of course, we'll still be married. You love me and I love you. We'll get past this. You're breaking my heart, Sharon. She let out a frustrated sigh. Don't be so dramatic. Just think of it as an exciting adventure. It'll bring something fresh to our marriage. I clenched my fists. Your adventure is the end of us. She shook her head. You're being ridiculous. I'll make you change your mind in the morning. I know exactly how. I let out a bitter chuckle. Do you really think I would ever touch you again after you've spent the night in another man's bed? She smirked, completely confident. You will. I'll make sure of it. I felt a wave of nausea at her words. I had never been so disgusted in my life. God, I never realized how little you actually understand me. Her smile faltered. I exhaled slowly, then nodded toward the house. Go on, get out. For a moment, she hesitated, as if waiting for me to change my mind. But I didn't. She reached for the door handle, pulled it open, and stepped out. She turned back to me, her voice light and dismissive. See you in the morning, Frank. I shook my head, sadness settling deep in my chest. No, Sharon, you won't. As soon as she pushed the door shut, I slammed my foot on the gas pedal. The tires screeched, burning rubber against the pavement as I sped off, leaving her standing alone on the sidewalk. The car fishtailed slightly, but I didn't let up, pressing forward until I had put half a block between us. I caught one last glimpse of her in the rearview mirror before I turned the corner and disappeared from sight. She stood frozen, her expression a mixture of disbelief and shock, her mouth slightly open as if she had just realized the gravity of what had happened. Deep down, I needed her to call me, to say she had made a mistake, that she had come to her senses, that she wanted me to come back and take her home. But the phone remained silent. The realization crushed me. She had chosen a single night of meaningless pleasure over a decade of marriage, over the life we had built together. Tears blurred my vision as the weight of it all settled in my chest. My wife, had decided that a random man's touch was worth more than the vows we had spoken, worth more than the years we had spent together. And the worst part, she actually believed I would just get over it, that I'd sulk for a few days, let my anger run its course, and then fall right back into her arms the moment she batted her eyelashes and lured me into bed. Well, she had another thing coming. My father had once told me something that now echoed in my mind with painful clarity. If a woman is seriously considering sleeping with another man, she has already done it in her mind. And if she's married, she has already broken her vows. It was one thing for a fleeting thought to cross her mind. Curiosity was human nature. But the moment she began plotting how to make it happen, she had already betrayed me. That realization cut deep, but not as deep as knowing that my 3 children, 9-year-old Jocelyn, 8-year-old Rebecca Ann, and 4-year-old Frankie Jr., would be the ones to suffer the most. How was I supposed to live without them in my life every single day? But I knew one thing for sure. Sharon's actions would not go without consequences. The kids were staying at my mother's house for the weekend, which gave me time to think. Time to figure out my next move. For half an hour, I drove aimlessly, my hands gripping the wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. Every minute that passed, I kept hoping the phone would ring, that she would beg me to come back for her. But the silence stretched on. Finally, I made a decision. I turned the car toward home, determined to set things in motion. As soon as I pulled into the driveway, my phone rang. My heart jumped, but when I glanced at the screen, disappointment hit me like a punch to the gut. It wasn't Sharon. I answered anyway. Laughter and the faint hum of music filled the background, and then a man's voice came through. Frank, buddy, it's Rick Wilson. You left the party a little too soon, man. Your lovely wife gave me your number. Guess she figured I could talk some sense into you. He chuckled like this was some kind of joke. Look, she's just excited, that's all. She's having a great time, and man, you are one lucky guy. Every dude here is hoping they're the one who gets her key. She keeps saying some guy's about to have the best night of his life, and she really wants you to be part of this too. We've got some gorgeous women here, Frank. You still have time to come back, pick a key, and have the time of your life. Something inside me snapped. Go to hell, Rick, I spat. You and everyone else at your disgusting little party. You're all pathetic. And as for my wife, she can burn with the rest of you. I ended the call without another word, my entire body trembling with rage. Without hesitation, I stormed into the house, grabbed 2 suitcases, and started throwing clothes into them. I didn't need much, just enough to last a week or two. Laptop, toiletries, essentials. My hands worked on autopilot, moving faster than my thoughts. I rifled through a drawer, pulling out our marriage certificate. I stared at it for a long moment before tearing it into 4 pieces and tossing it onto Sharon's pillow. Then I slipped off my wedding ring. A symbol of commitment, of trust, both of which she had just shattered. I grabbed a hammer and brought it down hard. Once, twice, 3 times, the metal bent and twisted under the force, flattening into something unrecognizable. When I was done, I placed the ruined ring on top of the torn certificate, took one last look around the house, and walked out the door. Before heading to a motel, I drove past the Vanderlinks' house one last time. The crowd had thinned. Several cars were gone. A few guests lingered outside, chatting in pairs, looking far too comfortable. I didn't see Sharon. She was either wrapped up in some stranger's arms already, or had set her sights on someone else. Either way, she had made her choice. I pulled into a small motel just outside of town, parking in the back where no one would notice my car. Not that it mattered. It wasn't like anyone would come looking for me. I locked up, walked to the convenience store next door, and bought a 6-pack of Newcastle. Back in my room, I turned on the TV and cracked open a bottle. The first couple of drinks dulled the edges of my emotions, but before I could finish the third, my phone rang again. Sharon. I stared at the screen, my jaw tightening. I knew she wasn't calling to ask me to come back. Whatever she had to say, I didn't want to hear it. I let it go to voicemail. A moment later, the notification popped up. Against my better judgment, I played the message. Her voice was light, almost amused. Frank, come on, you're acting like a child about this. Rick told me what you said to him, and honestly, you need to relax. How many times do I have to tell you? It's just one night. I'll let some new guy have me a few times. Big deal. That doesn't make me a bad person. I swear, if it makes you feel better, I'll make it up to you in ways you can't even imagine when I come home. She giggled as if this was all some game. Oh, and since you snatched our house key from the bowl, they gave me another one. Glenn got it. Nice guy, married, has kids the same age as ours. He says he won't make me do anything I don't want to. His wife and her boyfriend are here too, staying in another part of the house so we won't, disturb each other when things get intense. She let out another laugh. You know how loud I get when you touch me. My stomach churned. I know you're mad now, she continued, her voice taking on a coaxing tone. But tomorrow morning, everything will be fine. I'll shower before I come home, of course. I'd never give you sloppy seconds, baby. She giggled again. Sweet dreams, my love. See you in the morning. I hope you're ready for some fun when I get home. It felt like my insides had been torn apart. Never in my wildest dreams had I imagined that the woman I married, the mother of my children, could be so blind, so foolish. Sharon had always been a bit impulsive, sometimes even a little naive, but I had once found that charming. Now that recklessness had led her to destroy everything, our marriage, our family, and quite possibly her future with our kids. What made it worse was that she truly seemed to believe I would take her back, that she could crawl into my arms tomorrow morning, whisper a few sweet words, seduce me into forgetting everything, and life would simply go on. Meanwhile, I could only imagine the laughter and smug grins from everyone at that damn party, enjoying my humiliation at my expense. The pain and rage inside me burned hotter with every passing second, and yet, the woman I had devoted a decade of my life to couldn't have cared less. I knew I should have ignored her voicemail. I should have shut off my phone, drowned out her voice, and let her deal with the consequences on her own, but I couldn't. I hit the call button. She picked up on the third ring. Hey, honey, she greeted me, her voice light and cheerful. Glenn and I just got into bed and are getting comfortable, so I can't really talk for long. My stomach twisted. Shut the hell up, Sharon, I growled. This is probably the last time you'll ever hear my voice. You have no idea what you just did, but trust me, you'll find out soon enough. So, I hope you enjoy every second of this little thrill ride you've chosen because it's going to cost you more than you ever imagined. Get this through your head. Once you sleep with that man, you and I are done. Our marriage is finished. A sharp inhale. She finally understood. You don't get it, do you? I continued, my voice dripping with disgust. I never thought I'd say this, but I hate you more than I ever loved you. And I loved you, Sharon, but not anymore. You've lost me. My lawyer will be in touch next week. And I ended the call. 30 seconds later, the phone rang again. I didn't answer. A moment later, her voice spilled into my voicemail. Frank, she sounded breathless, on the verge of tears. Why are you acting like this? How can you say those things to me? I'm your wife. Why can't you just let me have this one night? Glenn and I are just getting started, and you're ruining it for me. Now I don't even know if I can enjoy this the way I wanted to. I clenched my fists. We're not getting divorced, she continued, the certainty in her voice making my stomach churn. I'll be home in the morning, and we'll work things out. I would come home now, but I promised Glenn I'd stay with him tonight. I gave him my word, Frank. He got my key, and I told him right then that he could have me, and now he really wants me. Oh yes, right now, while I'm talking to you, I have to go. And then, just as I thought she couldn't possibly sink any lower, I heard her whisper to him. Take me, Glenn. This is my night. The line went dead. Something inside me shattered. I had to do something. I couldn't just sit here, drowning in this hell she had created for me. I hit redial, but this time the call went to voicemail. I already knew why, so I left a message. Sounds like he's already got his hands on you, I said, my voice hollow. And you love it, don't you? You'll spend the night staring into his face, feeling his hands on you, letting him take everything that was supposed to be mine. You made a promise to him, a man you just met, but you couldn't keep the vows you made to me. For 10 years, I was faithful. I loved you, and you threw it away in one night. You won't see me in the morning. You may never see me again, but you will see my lawyer. I'll be filing for divorce under infidelity charges. And just so we're clear, now that you've slept with him, you are officially a cheater. So go ahead, enjoy yourself. Sleep with whoever you want as often as you want, but just in case you care at all, you've lost me forever. And unlike you, I actually keep my promises. I hung up. She didn't call back, and I knew why. Sharon had always had this way of losing herself in the moment, completely surrendering to whoever she was with. When we were together, it was one of the things I had loved most about her. Now it was the thing that sickened me the most. She was already lost in him, already drowning in pleasure, already forgetting that I even existed. I grabbed another beer from the six-pack and downed it, but nothing could numb the image in my head. My wife, unclothed in another man's bed, her voice, her moans, her body, things that had once been mine, now belonging to someone else. At some point, I passed out, the booze dulling the edges of my pain. But 4 hours later, I woke up and reality came crashing down all over again. My wife had betrayed me, and I needed a plan. I had to protect my children. I had to cut her out of my life, and I needed to make sure that every single person who was at that party, who had laughed at me, who had encouraged her, would feel the weight of what had happened. We lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, a picturesque Gulf Coast town with deep Southern roots. But more importantly, Mississippi was one of the few states where infidelity was legal grounds for divorce. That meant I could not only get out of this marriage without paying Sharon a dime, but I had a good shot at getting custody of our children too. I needed a lawyer, a damn good one. By 7:30 a.m., I was out of the motel shower, dressed, and ready to put my plan into action. But first, I needed to make a call. My mother answered on the second ring. Frank, it's early. Is everything okay? I took a deep breath. No, Mom, everything is not okay. She listened, silent except for the occasional sharp inhale. When I finished, she let out a breath. Oh, Frank, I don't even know what to say. I never would have believed Sharon could do something like this. I wouldn't have either. The kids are fine, she assured me. I won't say a word to them until you're ready. Just tell me what you need. Just keep them there a little longer. I'll pick them up once I have things figured out. I hated to admit it, but Sharon had been a good mother. And, until last night, a good wife. But that was the past, and I wasn't about to let my love for who she used to be cloud my judgment now. I ended the call and got into my car. Before heading out of town, I stopped at a small diner to grab breakfast. I had barely pulled into the parking lot when my phone rang. It was Sharon. I considered answering but decided against it, letting the call go to voicemail. But unlike before, she didn't leave a message. Instead, she called back immediately. When I ignored it again, she tried a third time, then a fourth. Finally, on the fifth attempt, she left a voicemail. Her voice was shaky, her sobs breaking through the words. "Frank, damn it, pick up the phone. Please, just talk to me. You can't mean what you said about never seeing me again. And what's all this nonsense about divorce papers? You can't leave me. I won't let you. We have 3 beautiful children who need us both." She gasped between cries before her voice softened, pleading. "My God, Frank, why? Why did you rip up our marriage certificate? Why would you destroy the wedding ring I gave you? You promised to wear it forever. It was supposed to be a symbol of our love, of what we had. How could you do that?" Then her tone shifted, almost defensive. "I knew you'd be upset. I expected you to be mad at me, but I never thought you'd take it this far. Frank, I love you. I just needed last night. Glenn made me feel young again. He made me laugh. He made me scream with excitement. I had forgotten what that felt like." There was a pause, as if she were gathering her thoughts, trying to piece together some way to make me understand. "But as great as it was, Frank, you are my man. You're the only man I will ever truly love. And I know how to make it up to you. I know how to make you forgive me. Just come home, come back to me so I can prove it. I'll make this right, I promise." Then she broke down completely, her sobs making it difficult to understand her words. "Damn it, Frank! Why don't you see that I needed this? Just one night to feel wanted, to feel desired. Do you know what it's like for a woman my age to see a man so excited for her? To see that hunger in his eyes? To know that he can't wait to have her?" My jaw clenched as I listened. "It was just sex, Frank," she whispered, her voice almost childlike in its desperation. "That's all. He just slept with me. That's what this was. Please, Frank, please talk to me. I love you. You and the kids, you're everything to me." Her voice weakened, barely more than a breath now. "It was just sex, Frank. Just a few times. Oh God, all he did was sleep with me. That's all, Frank." The voicemail cut off, but her sobs echoed in my ears long after the message ended. I stood frozen outside the diner, my fingers curled into fists at my sides. Had she felt this way our entire marriage? Had she always been searching for something more? And why? Why now? Had this need suddenly consumed her? Sharon was still stunning, 5'5", maybe 130 pounds, with dark brown hair that framed her delicate face, light blue eyes that used to sparkle when she laughed. Her body had changed a little after 3 pregnancies, but she was still the kind of woman who turned heads wherever she went. And yet she spoke as if she had been some forgotten woman, unseen, undesired. Had I failed her? That thought twisted in my gut like a knife. I always showed her I loved her. I bought her flowers just because. I took her out every week, made sure she felt beautiful, desired. I told her how much I loved her every single day, and until last night, I had thought our sex life was incredible. We made love 3 times a week, sometimes more. I always made sure she felt wanted. I always made sure she was satisfied. So what the hell had I missed? I lost my appetite completely, but I walked into the diner anyway, needing somewhere to sit, to think. I ordered scrambled eggs, toast, and black coffee. Barely touched the food, but I drank cup after cup of coffee, staring blankly at the table, trying to make sense of it all. For the first time in my life, I understood when people said they wished they were dead. That hollow, aching void inside them. I felt it now. The only thing that kept me from sinking completely was my children. Jocelyn, Rebecca Ann, little Frankie. They needed me. I had to survive this. I had to push through the hell that Sharon had created and rebuild a life for them. That single thought gave me the strength to keep going. Sharon called at least 20 times that day. Every time I sent her to voicemail. Each message was the same. She begged me to listen, to understand, but never once did she apologize. Never once did she say she had made a mistake, only that she had needed this, and that my job as her husband was to understand and support her. Her voice played over my speaker again as I sat in the diner, another message, another excuse. "Frank, all we did was sleep together, just 3 times last night, and then once more in the morning. That's all." That's all. She actually believed this was something small, something I could brush off and move past. Then her voice wavered, taking on a nervous edge. I just, I just hope you didn't hear anything. I tried to turn my phone off, but I think maybe you heard us. I hope it wasn't too much. I squeezed my eyes shut, my breathing shallow. She knew. She knew what she was doing to me. And still, she twisted the knife deeper. If there was any silver lining, it was that I now had all the evidence I needed to destroy her in court. Every voicemail, every word, every confession. It was all recorded, all laid out. Tomorrow, I would find a lawyer, a damn good one. That evening, I went to see my kids at my mother's house. When I walked through the door, my mother pulled me aside, her expression grim. She called, Mom said softly, checking on the kids, asking where you were. I swallowed hard. What did you tell her? That you're shattered, Frank. That you don't want to see her. That you don't want to talk to her. I nodded. Then Mom sighed, rubbing her temples. She cried, I scoffed. Of course she did. She kept saying she didn't understand. Mom muttered, shaking her head, that she didn't get why you were so upset. I let out a slow breath, steadying myself, and then my mother said something that would stay with me forever. No man, she said firmly, would ever understand how a wife could throw away her marriage for one night with another man, and then expect to be forgiven. Sharon asked if she should come pick up the kids, but my mother gently told her it would be best for them to stay with her a few more days, at least until things settled down. When I arrived at my mom's house, my children ran to me with excited smiles, wrapping their small arms around me. Their innocence made my heart ache. They didn't know their world had just shattered. Where's Mom? Jocelyn asked, looking up at me with curious eyes. I forced a smile. She's busy with something important, I said carefully. You'll be staying with Grandma for a few days, okay? They didn't question it, nodding happily before dragging me into their evening routine. We played games, shared dinner, and for a few precious hours, I let myself pretend that everything was normal. When it was time to leave, I hugged them tightly, kissed each one on the forehead, and promised I'd see them soon. But before heading back to my motel, there was one last thing I needed to do. I drove past our house. The moment it came into view, my chest tightened. Memories flooded in, our laughter, our fights, our dreams, the life we built together. And now, all of it was gone. I wasn't expecting to see another car in the driveway, but I was still surprised to find it empty. It didn't mean much. Whoever she had brought home could have parked in the garage, but the only light I saw was in the kitchen. That told me one thing. She was alone. For tonight, at least. And then it hit me. Despite everything, I still cared. No, I would never take her back. That door was slammed shut, locked, and burned to the ground. But knowing that she had destroyed our family with such little thought, knowing she had chosen a moment of selfish pleasure over everything we had, it still cut deep. I told myself to keep driving, to let go, to leave her in the past where she belonged. But I didn't. I parked a block away and walked quietly up the side of the house, stopping where I could see into the kitchen window. She was sitting at the table, slumped over, her fingers curled around an empty bottle of Grey Goose. Her usually neat hair was a tangled mess, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She was still wearing a robe, but it hung off one shoulder like she hadn't bothered to fix it. A pile of crumpled tissues surrounded her, evidence of how long she had been crying. For a brief moment, I felt pity. Then I remembered everything. What she had done, what she had chosen to do, knowing it would break me, knowing it would destroy our family. And any sympathy I felt turned ice cold. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to turn away. I walked back to my car, got inside, and drove off. Let her cry. If she wanted comfort, she could call Glenn. The alarm on my phone buzzed at 6, and I got up, determined to start the day with a clear head. Breakfast at the diner was eggs, toast, and black coffee. This time, I actually finished it. Afterward, I called my mother, spoke to each of my kids, and told them I loved them. Then, I phoned my office and told my assistant I'd be handling personal matters for the next couple of days. She hesitated. Is everything okay? No, I said simply, but I'll explain later. Back in college, I had 2 roommates, Douglas Prater III and Maxwell McCrae. We had been close then, and despite life taking us in different directions, we had stayed in touch. Doug had gone into business, building a small empire, while Max had become a highly respected lawyer. I called Doug first. I need to meet up with you and Max, I told him. I need advice, legal and financial. It's important. Doug didn't hesitate. Of course, man. I'll call Max. Meet us at the lava bar on the beach at 5. I got there early. The waves crashed in the background, the salty ocean breeze mixing with the scent of grilled seafood from the restaurant next door. Max arrived first, followed by Doug 10 minutes later. We shook hands, ordered drinks, and clinked our beer bottles together in an unspoken show of support. Doug leaned back in his chair, watching me carefully. All right, Frank, your call sounded serious. What's going on? I didn't sugarcoat it. Sharon cheated on me, and she made damn sure I knew about it. Their faces darkened. Doug whistled low. Damn, man, that's rough. Max shook his head. I can't believe it. She always seemed so devoted to you. So did I said bitterly. Then I told them everything. They listened in stunned silence. When I was done, Doug exhaled slowly. Jesus. She really doesn't think she did anything wrong? Max asked. Nope, I said, my voice dripping with disbelief. She still thinks I'm the one overreacting. Max ran a hand through his hair. So what's your plan? I want a divorce. And if I can, I want to hit Glenn where it hurts. Maybe even expose those a-holes at the party. But most importantly, I want my kids. If I can get full custody, I will. Max leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. That's going to be tough, unless you can prove she's a negligent mother, like bringing men home while the kids are there. You won't have much to go on. If she's a good mom, the court will likely grant her custody, and you'll have to pay child support. I can live with that, I admitted. As long as I can see them as often as I want. Max nodded. That's doable. The courts prefer both parents to be actively involved unless one of them is unfit. Doug, who had been mostly quiet, finally spoke. What about the financial side of things? Sharon doesn't work, right? And you've got a solid 6-figure income. Yeah, I said. Between checking, savings, investments, my 401k, and IRA, I'd say I've got somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000, maybe a little more. Doug winced. That's a lot. If the court follows a standard split, she'll get half of everything, plus the house and custody. But if you can prove infidelity, and from what you've told us, you've got more than enough evidence, you might be able to avoid alimony. I nodded. I need a damn good lawyer. Max tapped his fingers on the table. I've got someone for you. One of the partners at my firm, Maddie Simmons. She's one of the best family law attorneys in the state. Can you set up a meeting? I'll call her first thing tomorrow. Doug leaned in. In the meantime, send me your financial details. I'll see what I can do to protect some of your assets. We clinked our beer bottles again, this time with more conviction. By the time we left for the first time since this nightmare had started, I felt something close to relief. As I drove back to my motel, my mind raced with everything I needed to do. There were phone calls to make, plans to finalize, and a future to rebuild without Sharon. Then my phone rang. I glanced at the screen and saw her name. My stomach tightened. I could have ignored it, like I had done all day, but something told me it was time to face her. I pulled over to the side of the road, exhaled slowly, and answered. What do you want, Sharon? My voice was cold, detached. There was no point in pretending things were normal. Nothing about this was normal. She sniffled, and I could hear the strain in her voice. What do you think I want, Frank? I want my husband to come home, where he belongs. I let out a hollow laugh. Yeah? Well, after what you did, that's impossible. Don't say that, her voice cracked. Please don't say that. I spent one night away from you, one night in 10 years. That is not a reason for divorce. I shook my head. In Mississippi, infidelity is definitely a reason for divorce. She let out a sharp breath. Why do you keep calling it cheating? It wasn't like that. It was just one night. It was just sex. I clenched my jaw. It doesn't matter if it was one night or 1 minute. The second you let another man touch you, you betrayed me. And I warned you, Sharon. I told you if you went through with it, our marriage would be over. I wasn't bluffing. She broke down into sobs. Oh, God. Frank, please. You can't do this. I gritted my teeth. You did this, not me. What the hell happened to you, Sharon? Were you on something? Did you lose your damn mind? Or were you just so desperate to screw a stranger that you didn't care about anyone? Not me, not our kids, not our family. You had to do this, right? Well, congratulations. You got what you wanted. And now you get to live with the consequences. Silence. Then, barely above a whisper, I thought we were happy. I laughed bitterly. We were happy. We had a beautiful home, 3 amazing kids. Our life was good. And then you threw it away to have sex with some random guy. And the worst part, you bragged about it, like I was supposed to be fine with it. She took a shaky breath. Frank, we are happy. We can still be happy. This was just something I needed to do, something small. I just wondered what it would feel like to be with someone else, just once, just to feel something different. That's all. I closed my eyes and exhaled slowly. Harmless? Do you even understand what you've done? You destroyed everything, our family, our trust. You took the life we built and shattered it into pieces. And for what? Because I love you, Frank. I scoffed. Love? Love isn't betraying your husband. Love isn't spitting on 10 years of marriage. Love isn't choosing a night of pleasure over everything we had. I could hear her breath quicken, but I wasn't done. I have always loved you, Sharon. From the moment I met you, I was yours. I worked every single day to give you and our children the life you wanted. And in return, you left me. You walked away from me, from us, and into another man's arms. And now you expect me to pretend it didn't happen? Her voice was barely audible. I never meant for it to be like this. I never wanted to hurt you. I let out a hollow laugh. You didn't think you'd hurt me. What the hell did you think would happen, Sharon? You really thought I'd just accept that my wife of 10 years wanted to screw another guy? That I'd be okay with it? It wasn't about you, she whispered. I froze. She continued, her voice fragile but unrepentant. It was something I needed, just for me. It was never about you. I clenched my fists. And that is the entire problem, isn't it? You made it about you. You removed me from the equation. You didn't think about how I would feel. You didn't care how this would affect our family. You wanted something, so you took it. Like our marriage meant nothing. I deserved a special night just for myself. I laughed, shaking my head. Well, congratulations, Your Majesty. You got your special night, and it cost you everything. Your marriage, your family, maybe even your reputation. There might come a day when I forgive you, but I will never forget. And I will make sure everyone knows exactly what you did, she gasped. Frank, no, please, you can't tell people. My parents should know what kind of daughter they raised. Her breath hitched. They'll hate me. Not my problem. You should have thought about that before you jumped into bed with another man. You chose this. Now you get to live with it. Frank, you think this is nothing more than a small mistake, a misunderstanding? I laughed darkly. Let me make it simple for you. You traded 10 years of marriage for a one-night stand with a man who saw you as nothing more than an easy conquest. That was your decision. I didn't have to lose you, Frank. Oh, but you did. The second you decided your curiosity was more important than our marriage, you lost me. She took a shaky breath. You should have loved me enough to support me in this. I blinked in disbelief. There is not a single man on this planet who would support his wife sleeping with someone else for fun. That is not how marriage works. And if you ever thought it did, you never understood me at all. I didn't think you'd be this upset, she admitted. I mean, really, Frank, what's so bad about letting another man sleep with me? It was just a few times. It didn't change how I feel about you. I went silent. Then, my voice dropped to a deadly calm. The second you let another man inside you, everything changed. I begged you not to do it, and you laughed at me. I will never forgive that. I let the silence stretch before delivering the final blow. I found a lawyer. Tomorrow I'm filing for divorce. I'll name Glenn in the proceedings. I'll name every single person at that party that I can. And when the truth comes out, let's see how your little club reacts when you're the reason it all comes crashing down. Her breath hitched. Frank, go to hell, Sharon, and take every one of your cheating friends with you. And then I hung up. The moment I stepped into the office of Madison Maddie Simmons, attorney at law, I knew I had made the right choice. She was no nonsense, sharp, and all business. Exactly the kind of lawyer I needed to help me untangle the wreckage my life had become. She wasted no time. Mr. Miller, let's get straight to it. Why are you filing for divorce, and what outcome are you hoping for? I laid everything on the table. I told her I understood that our marital assets would likely be divided, and I was willing to let Sharon keep the house in exchange for a smaller cash payout. Even though I knew the odds of getting full custody were slim, my priority was unrestricted access to my kids. And one thing was certain, I had no intention of paying Sharon a dime in alimony. Then, I pulled out my phone and played the voicemails I had saved, the ones where Sharon openly admitted to what she had done with Glenn. Maddie listened carefully, shaking her head in disbelief. At one point, she paused the recording and looked up at me. I've seen a lot of divorces, but this, your wife truly believed you'd be fine with this? She still thinks I should understand why she needed it, Maddie scoffed, folding her hands together. Well, lucky for you, Mississippi still recognizes infidelity as legitimate grounds for divorce. These recordings? They're gold. They make it very difficult for her to claim any right to alimony. We'll likely need an expert to verify them in case she tries to contest their authenticity, but unless we get a bad judge, these should hold up in court. We spent the next hour discussing strategy. While Maddie didn't think I could legally pursue Glenn or the other party guests for damages, she did suggest that exposing their little secret to the public could shake up their comfortable lives. That was good enough for me. After putting down a retainer, I told her I wanted Sharon served with divorce papers immediately. Maddie assured me it wouldn't take long and promised to notify me when it happened. I picked up my kids from my mother's house and drove them back to Sharon's. As soon as she opened the door, she scooped them up in her arms, holding them close, kissing their faces. But when she reached for me, tears welling in her eyes, I instinctively stepped back. She broke down on the spot. "Please, Frank, stay." "I can't," I said firmly. "But I wanted the kids to come home to you. I'll pick them up Friday for the weekend." She looked awful, exhausted, emotionally drained, completely wrecked. For a fleeting moment, I felt a sliver of sympathy. Then I reminded myself that she had made this bed. I threw myself into work. Losing focus wasn't an option. I needed my career now more than ever. Not just for financial stability, but for sanity. If I let myself wallow in Sharon's betrayal, I'd drive myself insane. And my kids needed me to be strong. On Thursday, I met up with Doug and Max for dinner at the Oyster House. Over fresh oysters and a round of drinks, I updated them on my situation. Doug had managed to safeguard a portion of my assets, ensuring I wouldn't be left completely exposed in the divorce. It wasn't much, but it was something. Max, however, had a different idea. "I have a contact at the Biloxi Sun-Herald," he said, swirling the olive in his martini. "If you give me Vanderlink's address and the times these meetings happen, my guy can do some digging. He won't name names, but he can drop enough hints for the local crowd to put two and two together." "You think it'll work?" I asked, intrigued. "In a town like this? Absolutely. A few blurry photos of well-known businessmen sneaking in and out of that house, and the rest will take care of itself." I gave him everything I knew. We clinked our glasses in agreement. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I was winning again. I knew the call was coming. At exactly 2:30 p.m., Maddie called to inform me that Sharon had officially been served with divorce papers at home. And at 2:40 p.m., my phone rang again. I checked the caller ID and smirked. Right on cue. I considered ignoring it, letting her stew, but my curiosity won out. I answered with a calm, casual tone. "Hey, Sharon, how's your day going?" "What the hell did you do, Frank?" she shrieked. I leaned back in my chair, completely unbothered. "I filed for divorce, just like I told you I would." "You what, and under infidelity?" "Frank, one night with another man is not cheating." I let out a short, humorless laugh. "I think the state of Mississippi would disagree with you on that one. Spending the night in another man's bed is literally the definition of infidelity here." She started crying. "Why are you so angry with me, Frank? I love you. All Glenn did was sleep with me a few times. It was just an affair." "Oh, I see," I said mockingly. "So, you mean to tell me that having sex with someone who isn't your spouse isn't cheating? Wow, Sharon, I had no idea. I guess I've just been living by some ridiculous old-fashioned standard where marriage vows actually mean something." She sniffled. "Frank, please..." "Save it, Sharon," I cut her off. "You knew this would happen. I begged you not to do this. I warned you over and over. And you went through with it anyway. Now you have to live with the consequences." Her voice trembled. "What do you mean, consequences?" I smiled. "You'll find out soon enough. Frank, goodbye, Sharon. Have a fantastic life." And just like that, I hung up. No matter how much I wanted to erase Sharon from my heart, I couldn't deny the truth. I still loved her. Maybe some part of me always would. But love wasn't enough to fix what she had done. Trust was shattered. And without trust, there was nothing left to salvage. Still, despite knowing better, I found myself unable to resist the pull of curiosity. Against my better judgment, I drove past the Vanderlink house that night. I told myself it was just to see if Sharon's car was parked outside. Maybe deep down I was testing her one last time. As I approached, my pulse pounded in my ears. The neighborhood was eerily quiet, dim streetlights casting long shadows over the line of cars parked along the curb. I slowed down, scanning the vehicles carefully. Sharon's car was nowhere to be seen. But that didn't mean she wasn't there. She could have arrived with someone else, just like she had left the door open for herself once before. Who's to say they wouldn't make another exception? Across the street, a nondescript van sat parked near the corner. It had to be the reporter Max had tipped off. A small smirk crossed my lips. I hoped he got everything he needed. I hadn't expected results so quickly, but the next afternoon, Max's contact called me. "We've got quite the story," the reporter said. "Over 100 photos. And let's just say Biloxi's so-called elite aren't as discreet as they think." He rattled off names. Business moguls, city officials, socialites. These weren't just random couples sneaking around. These were the kind of people who built their reputations on morality and family values. Yet, the same couples who had arrived together weren't the same ones who left. Then he reassured me about something I hadn't even asked yet. "I looked for her, Frank." "Your wife, Sharon. She wasn't there." A small relief, but not much. Before we ended the call, he asked if he could include a reference to a marriage that had been destroyed by these parties, without naming names. "Say whatever you want," I told him. "Just keep identities out of it." The article landed on the front page of the Biloxi Sun-Herald, and just like that, the entire city exploded. The exposé laid out everything: the secret gatherings, the infidelity, the quiet corruption of Biloxi's social scene. There were photos, too, faces blurred, but not well enough to keep people from recognizing familiar silhouettes. Their clothes, their cars, even the way they walked, it was all too easy to identify them. By Monday morning, the scandal had spread like wildfire. Religious leaders condemned the moral decay of the community, taking to local television and radio to denounce the wickedness that had infiltrated their city. Civic leaders distanced themselves from those exposed. Threats of lawsuits flew left and right, but it was too late. The damage had been done. Businesses lost clients, reputations crumbled, and more than one marriage found its way to divorce court. To me, it was poetic justice, a fitting consequence for the humiliation, pain, and loss I had endured. If some people figured out I had been one of the betrayed husbands, I didn't care. I got my closure. That was all that mattered. Sharon spent months trying to fix what couldn't be repaired. She begged. She promised. She swore she'd do anything to make it up to me. But there was nothing left to salvage. The divorce was finalized. We settled on joint custody, alternating months with the kids, weekends in between. It wasn't perfect, but it was workable. Surprisingly, Sharon didn't fight me on anything. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe she just wanted it to be over. Either way, I let her off the hook. I never played those damning recordings for her family or friends. She was already paying a steep enough price. As for the rest of the couples involved in those key parties, some marriages survived. Others didn't. A few people skipped town altogether, vanishing before the whispers could catch up to them. They could run all they wanted. The truth had already been carved into history. Sharon eventually started dating again. I don't know if she ever truly grasped why what she did was unforgivable, but that was no longer my concern. Whoever ends up with her next, well, I wish them luck. As for me, I moved on too. I met some incredible women. Some were kind, intelligent, and full of life. A few even wanted something permanent. But even now, I hesitate. Letting someone into my world again? That's one thing. Giving her a key? That's something else entirely.